Live on DAZN Worldwide, April 26th. Eubank Jr versus Benn. Over 30 years of rivalry and hatred.
I do hate him.
All comes down to this.
This is a war.
A bloodline born. The next generation. A new destroyer. Hatred in their blood.
This is going to be a bloodbath.
Family. History.
This is the final chapter.
Legacy. Eubank Jr versus Benn. April 26th. Find now at DAZN.com/boxing.
So, on the other side of the fight, where are we on Conor Benn?
He's good.
Is he a world level fighter?
He's good. He's aggressive. Is he world level? Again, this is about levels, isn't it, Simon? Do you see what I mean? I'd like to think he could hold his own with Eubank, but I just see Eubank's size just being too much for him.
Yeah, I think that for Conor Benn, Duke's right in what he says. Listen, the kid has all the potential. He's improving all the time, and he's very explosive at his weight. We're jumping up weights here, but he's very unproven at this level as well. You know, whereas some people may say with the knockout against Liam Smith, Eubank may be on the decline a little bit, but the guy can still fight very much so. And with what's on the line, he's got a hard night in front of him, Conor Benn. But it's going to be interesting to see if he can raise the levels. And until he steps up the level, we don't really know.
I mean, he on his resume, he's got what? Algieri, we just spoke a moment ago. Mm-hmm. He's had Sebastian Formella. He's had Samuel Vargas. He's had Granados. All of these are decent fighters that have had decent careers, and he's come through them all most of the time in flying colours. Where do you position him, Steve?
I think that Conor is still improving.
Yeah.
I wish he had more time, a couple of years earlier, started boxing earlier, would be at a higher level. I think Eubank is probably a little below his peak, but still at a top level. I think Conor's still improving. But they can't wait around for another couple of years for this fight to happen because the age, Eubank Jr is getting older. So I think if Conor wins this, I think he's going to go on to improve even more, become a better fighter. I think it's early in his career. He's getting this fight.
He's sort of in a win-win position, though, Conor, isn't he? Because if he loses this at 160, he's a 147 fighter. And if he wins, he takes himself up to another stratosphere. Yeah. So I think it's a win-win. Whereas with Eubank, he loses.
Yeah, it's done.
It's all over.
Well, let's hear from Conor talking to talkSPORT last week.
I don't want no excuses. Everybody was moaning about the £3. I'm sitting there going, why is no one caring about my safety? What about me going up 2 weight divisions? Everyone's moaning about him and his £3 that he's got to lose. Not about me going up 2 weight divisions. It's just funny how the media can twist it. No one cares about my health and safety. Oh, but he's got to lose £3. Oh, poor Chris. Poor Chris fighting a welterweight. Do you know what I mean? It's all right, cool, no problem. I'll meet you at 160. No excuses then.
What are you going to do to him?
You know what I'm going to do.
Go on, describe it.
No, 3 rounds. I'll give him 3 rounds before he's eating the canvas.
What do you think, Steve, about the level of emotion that Conor Benn exhibits? Do you think it's going to be played like a fiddle by Chris Eubank Jr during the course of the week, manipulated, twisted and turned with?
I think Conor's put himself under pressure and has continued to put himself under pressure to push himself to another level. He's telling people, he's convincing the world, but he's also convincing himself what he wants to do. I honestly see when the bell rings, Conor's going to come out throwing bombs. And I see a knockout win for somebody. It's either going to be Eubank with that dangerous uppercut or Conor with an overhand shot. And that's how it's going to... It's not going to go the distance. I just really believe they're going to go at it. If Eubank can weather the storm, maybe in latter rounds he might come on top. I don't know. What's his emotion going to be? Is he going to fire back? Is he going to let...
Because we don't really know what Conor Benn's chin's like, do we?
No. And also there is a massive size difference. And when you're in a fight and you're the smaller guy and you're chasing the fight and you're giving it your all and you're putting everything into every punch, you go tired. Doesn't matter how fit you are, you're still going to go tired. You can't really afford to go tired against Eubank. If nothing else, Eubank is like a wily old fox.
He goes tired if it goes the distance, but if he knocks him out early, he won't get tired. I mean, Mike Tyson was a small heavyweight and he came out throwing big shots and took out all the big guys. So
I can't see
the chance is there it can happen.
I can't see Conor Benn throwing bombs like a Mike Tyson.
I'm making a comparison. I'm not saying he is Mike Tyson, but what I'm saying is it's a good... We're here arguing. We like to think that we know our boxing, but we're here arguing both sides, which is what's selling this fight. It's a good fight. Some people, are giving reasons why Eubank will win, and other people are giving reasons why Conor will win. And we're agreeing and disagreeing with everybody, which tells me it's good because it's not one-sided.
We know Conor's an emotional kid, and we know, and them emotions, when he comes out to that crowd, there's going to be a 60,000 strong crowd there. We know those emotions are going to play a huge part in it, and he will go out there fast. And you're right in what you say, Steve. That could be that could be the ways to victory, but that could also be his undoing.
I think Conor is playing the emotion more, because I've seen an interview when a point was made about Chris Eubank Jr. and his dad coming, and Conor completely toned it down and became a little bit considerate.
That was with Piers Morgan, wasn't it?
He came right down and he said, "Oh no, I hope your dad's there," because he saw the father-son love that he has, and he wants him to share that. That to me shows a human side. And then you kind of realise, oh, hang on a minute, this can't happen, and he went back to the anger. So I think
Eubank didn't like that.
No, I think Eubank did like it because it was good. But I think maybe Conor could be playing it more. He's not completely letting the emotions take over. He's using the emotion and he's selling it through the emotion. But I think he's under control also.
Well, you know, his dad was very emotional like that as well, and obviously you boxed his dad and you beat his dad. Did those emotions play a part when he got in the ring as well? Because he was an emotional. He was talking about being fired up. How did he start the fight? Do you feel that them emotions took over in the fight with him?
All I know is he hit very hard.
Yeah.
So does his son.
Yeah, but he started very fast right?
And if he does hit very hard, and if Conor hits very hard like his dad, at the level, he can hit hard at a lower level. If he can hit hard enough to take out Eubank's in trouble, because he will get hit, and he has been dropped before. You know, Eubank Senior could take a shot, and Eubank Jr. take a shot.
Conor Benn isn't Nigel Benn. He doesn't.
And Eubank is not Chris Eubank Senior either. So, but they're very similar in level. As their fathers were. It's a match. I mean, the fact we're arguing about it and agreeing and disagreeing is
I don't want to be a fanny, but does anyone worry for Conor Benn? He makes the point himself about everyone's worried about Chris Eubank losing £3. No one's worried about me stepping up 2 weight classes. The argument would then be 154. Nigel was adamantly wanted this fight. When I had a long conversation with him, I said to him, why doesn't he go and fight a world title? All the challenges he's had over the last 2 years, people question his validity because of the failed drugs test. Why doesn't he go and fight for a world title? He's got the barriers world title to fight for, and I think he'd redeem himself in the eyes of the public. Really, what he's doing now is he's taking a fight for money on the back of your legacy and the other fella's dad.
Yeah.
But do you have any concerns for his safety in this fight?
Eubank Senior's got concerns for this fight. And Conor Benn's safety.
But do you look at it from that perspective?
On a personal level, it doesn't really affect me in that way, in that respect. You know, if you're going to jump up, as he's saying, 2 weight divisions to fight Eubank Senior.
Well, I'll ask you the question because, like, the example was made. Sorry to interrupt you, Duke, with the situation surrounding Kell Brook, which I think ruined his career.
Yeah.
He fights Golovkin, who's a middleweight. Yeah. When he's a welterweight. Gets his face punched in, and then goes and loses his next fight against Errol Spence, and Kell goes in a different direction. And there's similarity to that. I know. I'm not going to compare.
But that's the gamble.
But you asked 2 questions earlier.
Yeah.
But you actually asked 2 questions. One question you asked about why is he taking this fight, not other title fights.
Yeah.
The money and the exposure is the answer to that one. And the other one is about the weight. I'm not concerned about Conor going up a weight, because he's going to come in losing less weight and stronger. Yeah. It takes more out of you to drop weight than to put weight on, and it's not like a 30-pound difference. It could be a 10-pound natural difference. So I'm not concerned about going up a weight. I'm more concerned about coming down a weight.
Also, though, moving up in weights, you know, I've jumped through a few weights in my career. You know, you take the power with you, but then you get to a point where you've jumped up so far.
He hasn't taken it to 154 though, has he?
No, that's my whole point. You jump up so far, and then all of a sudden you guys with your best shot, they blink and take it. Because they can absorb your power. They can absorb your power. And that's what I think we're going to get in this particular fight.
I think a lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr.'s vulnerability as well, because he got knocked out by Liam Smith. Liam Smith is a big puncher, a world-class fighter as well.
He is actually,
It happens in boxing. He's come back. He's won since then. Serrameta, it wasn't a particularly great performance, but he got the victory, and he beat Liam Smith in the return as well. So you look at it and you go, the durability could still well be there. And if it is, then it is going to be a tough night for the smaller guy.
Yeah, but we know if he's been hit, if you hit him, he'll go. If you hit him right, he will go. We know that. It's happened. And it can happen again.
Because I think Conor's ferocity plays a part in this. And I think I've spent time with him. I think he's a really, really nice kid. And I think some of this anger and frustration is for the benefit of selling the fight. Some of it is because of the last 2 years and the observations that have come his way about the failed drugs test, and all of this comes out in this confected outrage, I think, sometimes in terms of what he really feels. I don't really think there's a real hatred between the 2 fighters. I think there's a distaste and there's an opportunity for them to turn it into this grudge match and then trade off their father's reputation as well. And all of a sudden you've got this phenomenon. You've got 65,000 people going to a football stadium with probably 750 to best part of 1 million pay-per-views, which is trebling what Beterbiev versus Bivol get, you know, we're talking about two world-class elite fighters getting nowhere near the kind of exposures, or two guys that are ultimately nowhere near that level. So I'm fascinated by the fact that I think that Conor can bring it. But when we talk about my view, yours is more prevalent. Predictions. How do you see this fight? Who wants to go first with that?
I don't see it going a distance. I see Eubank has got that dangerous uppercut, and I think that's probably going to be his money shot, or an overhand shot from Conor. I just don't see it going the distance. I see one knocking the other out. Yeah,
I think it's going to be a brutal fight. You know, a bit like their fathers were, but 35 years ago, I do believe that. But I just think that Chris Eubank Jr wins the fight and he wins it on points. I think that he will just get into a rhythm. Conor will tire in the second half of the fight, and Eubank will come out a points winner. Yeah,
that's what I think. I can't really see Benn's power playing a big part in this, because he's going to fall short because of the size difference. And Eubank is wily enough and clever enough to tie him up if he needs to.
Do you think Benn's
lean on him?
I do. I've just got a sneaky suspicion. But is Tony Bellew right then in what he said, which is it's a fight of two halves? If it's going to be won, it's going to be won by Benn in the first 6 rounds. If it goes past 6 rounds, then Eubank will take him down the stretch and beat him that way.
You can't sit on the fence, though, can you? You're asking for a prediction. You want an outright winner.
But will Eubank maintain strength, having dropped away for the second half of the fight? Will he be weak?
We
don't know.
Conor's got much more of a chance of knocking him out in the first 6 than he has in the back 6, yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because I just think he'll tire. I think because of the size difference with Chris Eubank Jr, Conor will have to use so much energy to get there.
Do you not think Eubank Jr will tire too because he had to cut weight? He won't have the same strength and stamina?
No, but there's a lot of talk about this cut weight, Steve, but he's been this weight since 2019. It's not like he's dropping down a weight.
It's nothing new.
It's not like he's done it since beating James
No,
DeGale.
he's not, but he's cutting weight, so if he was putting weight on, he'd be stronger.
Yeah.
He'd have more strength more in his tank.
Understood.
So he's cutting weight, whereas the other fighter is putting on weight, so he's going to have more strength in his tank. He'd be stronger at the heavier weight than you would be at cutting weight.
But they've still got the rehydration clause, right? So Eubanks is going to be pumped up, fully strong, and I think firing on all cylinders.
He's going to be full of fluids and so on. But if he came in at 168 pounds of weight and that way, he'd have more muscle. He's not going to grow muscle overnight. He's going to rehydrate.
No.
But it will affect you. Cutting weight will affect you.
But Benn can only put on so much weight.
I can only go on my own experience. At 160 pounds, I won a world title. I was weak. At 168 pounds, I won a world title, and I never felt so strong in all my life. I still could have made 160 pounds, but I was a weaker person at it. So to me,
I found jumping up through the weights. Once I'd hit my 4th weight division, there was a stone difference, and I just found that the guys I was hitting with my best shot that were a stone heavier, it had no effect on them.
They absorbed it.
Yeah, and it breaks your heart.
We know we've covered where the losers go. If Conor Benn loses, we know that he's got the built-in opportunity to say, "I've went up 2 weight classes. I'm out of here. I'm all right. That's not a problem. He can go again, and credibility won't be a massive issue." If Chris Eubank loses, we know there's a big credibility issue. We can't see much of a future for him. Where do they go if they win?
I think for Eubank, then surely his next fight has to be against one of the real big players in that weight division. Potentially for a world title. I mean, if you think about this logically, this has to be the richest non-title fight of all time.
Yeah. You could argue both ways that if it's a dramatic fight and like their fathers in the first one,
rematch.
we get it again.
The draw. Or if somebody wins big and looks impressive in the win,
because that's where the financial reward is.
Go for the pay. Go for Canelo. Go for the payday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fascinating. We'll see. Do you think they're going to hug at the end of the fight?
Yeah.
You do?
I do, yeah.
100%.
I do, yeah.
I bet they don't.
Oh, no, they will.
I bet they don't.
Are you just going against the grain because you want to be the one on the other?
Nah, listen, you can imagine if Benn gets chinned, he ain't going to want to shake Eubank.
Yeah, but you know what it's like once those emotions, the emotions again that we're talking about, once they're out the window.
There's a respect there.
Will you be watching it, Simon?
There's a respect.
You know my view on this fight.
Are you going to come?
No.
I'll have a seat next to me.
I can't have been a last 12 months saying I don't like this fight. I think it's a farce. I think they're trading up their father's name.
Can I read out the undercard to you? Have you seen the undercard? It's one of the best undercards I've seen in a long, long time, and we're not even talking about it. You've got cruiserweight guys who heading towards world title fights. You've got the rubber match like heavyweight. You've got Liam Smith taking on this young Irish kid, which is a major gamble for him and so on. But the undercard to me alone is a night to go watch boxing.
If you don't go, mate, watch it on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. You can watch it.
Thank you, mate.